Hi all and welcome back to my Let's Play of Morrowind. We are back at Chaos's house. I've just did some travelling, I've sold some stuff. I ended up having to wait a few days because I sold to Creeper again. Meaning that the disease that we caught in the last dungeon, Corpus, the nasty one, is getting worse. It's got worse a couple of times, so we probably want to get this solved relatively quickly in the grand scheme of things.
I think you should leave before I lose my lunch.
Okay, cheers, Chaos. We also have an update in here about it. I've killed Dagoth Gerez as the Spymaster ordered, but with his dying breath, Dagoth Gerez pronounced a curse on me, and now I have corpus disease. He said I would come to Dagoth in flesh and of his flesh, and I don't feel any different. But the marks of the disease are plain on my face. I'll have to return to report to the Spymaster on the 6th health base, and hope he knows some way to cure this disease. So, fingers crossed. Let's speak to him. Orders. With Dagoth Gerez dead, the 6th House Shrine is no longer a threat. You've more than earned a promotion to the rank of Traveller. I'm very worried that you have corpus disease, but I have some good news in that department. I canvassed my informants for possible treatments, and just in case you contracted the disease during your mission. Very thoughtful. Very, very thoughtful. I learned that Fast Eddie, that your best chance of getting cured is Divaeth Fear, an ancient Telvanni wizard who runs a corprusarium for victims of the disease. Here, take this Dwemer artifact and 1,000 drakes and go to Telfir. Divaeth will like the Dwemer artifact. A gift may sweeten his disposition. The gold is for expenses, and here's a couple of levitation potions. I hear you'll need them in Telvanni Towers because the wizards don't use stairs. So get moving and get that corpus disease cured, then hurry back. I think I know how to get the lost prophecies Nibani Mesa asked for. Cool. Corpusarium. Temple sends the victims of the disease to one. Fast Eddie. Ed Thurman, also known as Fast Eddie or Eddie the Rat, is a rare commodity. A former Telvanni wizard who's gone Imperial and joined the Mages Guild. A colourful but unreliable character, but he is an invaluable source of inside information on the Great House of Telvanni. Corpus disease. It's a rare disease that usually drives victims mad and causes terrible deformed growths on the body. I don't know much about it. I'll check my informants and see how to cure it. In the meantime, we can discuss orders. Anything else in here that we wanted to ask about? Nothing this second. I am just going to regain my health. In your dream, a tall figure with a golden mask greets you, saying, "There are many rooms in the house of the Master. Be easy, for from the hands of your enemies I have delivered you. It seems you had died and could see yourself laid upon a table lit by candles. But with your own hands you touched the figure, and the figure drew breath, opened eyes and rose from the table. Then the room was gone, and the world filled with light, and you awoke." Oh, I think we're getting all the dreams in one. Perhaps we should have rested a while ago. You dreamed that a tall figure with a golden mask spoke to you, but you understood not a word. He smiled and seemed pleasant, but when he reached to touch you, it terrified you, and you tried to escape, but you couldn't move. You tried to cry out, but you couldn't make a sound. The figure kept smiling and talking, but you felt sure he was trying to cast some sort of spell on you. When you woke, you couldn't recall how the dream ended. In your dreams, a tall figure in a golden mask spoke to you, Lord Nerva Induril, High Resdiana, Nia. Long forgotten, forged anew. 3 bellied you, 3 betrayed you. 1 you betrayed was 3 times true. Lord Voron Dagoth steadfast liegeman, faithful friend, bids you come and climb the Red Mountain. Beneath the Red Mountain once again, break your bonds, shed cursed skin, and purge the noir from Morrowind. How many more? You wake, you hear something and sense a presence nearby. Oh! It's an ash gremlin thing. I didn't realise that they got no eyes.
What was that?
Where's my... Ash zombie. Yeah, it's in the eyes there. That's a really interesting design. I need more arrows desperately. Can we finally heal? Yes, we can. Attacked while sleeping. That's worrying. The sixth house does exist, and for some reason they want you dead. Perhaps it is not safe to sleep in towns, makes it too easy for them to find you. Word of new outlanders gets around fast here. Maybe camping out in backcountry is safer, or maybe you should take the fight to them. They may have a base nearby. Disturbing dreams. This is what you said to us before, wasn't it? Cool. So, have we got pressing all the wrong buttons? Have we got a marker on the map of where we need to be going? We don't appear so, even though I did ask him specifically about it. Let's have a look at the journal. And we're going to get all of the dreams here. An island to the north? No. Corpus Cure, of course, it's the one called the Cure. Corprusarium, Dormer Artifacts, Telfair. Okay, let's have a look. We've got to go east, quite far east over here. No, on these islands. So we could potentially go to Sage Rithmora, but I kind of want to go across land because we've not seen this part of the world. So I think that's going to be the plan. It's not the easiest to head east from here, is it? Unless we go from Vivek and go up across here. We have to cross the river. I kind of want to just walk it and see what happens. Do a bit of exploring and see what trouble we can get into and hopefully get to our target in the end. I know we've got a horrible disease that seems to be getting worse and worse, but you know, that can wait, can't it? So yeah, let's head off on a bit of a journey.
You talk too much.
So as we take a nice stroll through the Morrowind countryside, I was going to talk about my game that I've been playing recently, which has been Smite. My little brother wanted to play some and wanted to get into it a little bit and see what he thought of it. So I played a round with him last night and I played one before that. And it's definitely the sort of game that's like super MMR dependent, like matchmaking rating, because I basically in the first game, because with a real basic knowledge of how MOBAs worked, went in and got like 50 kills. And then I don't know what's happened, but the next two games we had after that, and he was doing that on his account as well. But then the next two games we had after that, we got absolutely destroyed. Actually, no, we did manage to win one, but the one after that we got absolutely destroyed. We were clearly the worst people on the teams and just not playing good at all. And it's such a horrible experience as a MOBA, especially with like a young brother, having people on your team slag you off. Because it just feels like, hey, we're trying to learn this game and it's not really my fault that matchmaker ratings put me in a game way better than my ability currently. I mean, it should have like bumped me up definitely, because getting 50 kills is like way too many. But perhaps it bumped me up a couple of notches too many. And I know that's how it kind of happens at the beginning. You get these wild swings of like, here's the easiest game possible for you. Right, you're clearly way better than this. Here's the hardest game possible for you. I also don't know what the state of Smite's like these days, so I could be absolutely missing something that could like mean that the game isn't particularly populated or something like that. It's making it hard for us to go east as we want to. I regret walking now. But the actual gameplay is really cool. I like it. There's so many concepts going on, which is often the case in MOBAs. They sort of operate where a shooter might be relatively simple in regards to the things that are going on, and like I think shooters tend to be simple simple to play the basics of, but hard to master. Whereas MOBA's probably a bit of both. Oh, that's the bridge to Arkenhand, isn't it? Yeah, we've ended up like coming a really weird way. I actually kind of want to go up there and travel across that way. I think that's the way to go. Yeah, and so there's like just concepts going on that are hard to grasp, and like having played some MOBAs in the past, they're all right, but it's like I have no idea what any of the camps do, and like I'd need to watch some games to realise, oh, okay, what's normal right now is for us to go here, here, and here, and do this here, or you start the game and doing this, that, or the other. But it seems like a pretty cool game. I know plenty of people really liked it for a while, but I don't know how popular it is these days. I think the thing that I really like about it is that it takes away the mouse aspect. Like, it is completely playable on controller, and like I play it on keyboard and mouse at my house. But that means you can play it on a console, and also like it just shows that the inputs are simple, even if the rest of the game's complicated. And I kind of like that, actually. But the whole setting, what you're meant to do, is complicated. There ends up being so many unspoken rules of like, oh, left lane is solo lane, or if you're doing this, this, and this, you need to be doing this, 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 and this. Mid lane wants this, so it's hard to know where to slot into that at the beginning without further guidance. Which the game doesn't offer, and obviously if you're playing against much higher people, they're rightly almost getting annoyed at you for... has he got a reflect ability or something? We're paralysed. Yeah, it must be reflecting or something. I do have this blade as well. Yeah, I'm not sure how much more I'm going to play. If my brother wants to carry on playing, I'll play some, because he's never played a MOBA before, so having someone to show the ropes in a way is probably handy if he's enjoying it. But I don't know how much. Like with those sorts of games, I can like pretty quickly see how much is going on in front of me and how much I can be expected to learn. And like, don't get me wrong, that's enjoyable. I really don't know what's going on here. It's just got paralysed as well. Yeah, both of those have got paralysed. So it's just, I think, being reflected back on myself. Anyway, we won that fight, so there goes that. Are we just backtracking on ourselves? But yeah, I think if you're going, like as my brother mainly has gone from playing shooters to MOBAs, there is it's a bit of a different experience and there's a lot to learn. But I don't necessarily... I think Smite's got a lot of videos, but I think it could probably tutorialise some of the basic concepts better. Definitely. But I mean, why do that at this stage? The game's been out for 6 or 7 years. The people who are going to be playing it are usually going to be playing it. I doubt they're going to get much of an influx of new players at this stage. They may do. And at that stage, they might think of changing up their tutorialization. You almost, with MOBAs, you want someone guiding you through it, especially like the early stages, just being like, okay, here's what you need to be doing. Here's the concepts you're missing, and like wards, right? Learn this and put them here, here, and here at these times, and that's your duty to do it. And just like drip feed the things you're meant to be doing one by one to you. But like even map sense and being by yourself in that game is absolutely lethal and required. Yeah, I just don't know if I've got time for a MOBA. Maybe I have. I basically I'm being wary because I'm back at work soon, and starting up new large games at this stage is probably not the best thing. We as travelling on, obviously we've got Corpus, but we've just contracted another disease called Droops, which saps strength, which is obviously my favourite. My favourite thing to catch is anything that saps strength, because that basically just means you usually end up stopping in your place. Which it is what it is. Oh god, we level 99 on the short blade. We're pretty good at short blades. But it really does do the setting a lot of justice, and like disease being one of like sort of the central things in it. And I know diseases continue in the rest of the games, but you don't get the sense that as you're walking through the wildlife, that everything is sort of dying and not well, and there's something not quite right with it, and there's something like these maladies are going around that are truly affecting things. Um, you know, I used to do some conservation stuff, and there's a disease in England on oak trees called Phytophthora. And you have to manage that on oak trees, and once you do some work in that sort of space, and you end up cutting down like a lot of ash trees because they've got, I think it was a different disease, like it was a sort of blighty thing. I only did it once, so I can't fully remember. You get an idea that that wildlife does need this sort of stuff doing to it, culling, but you get the idea in this game that these diseases aren't coming from nature, that the diseases themselves are like some issue with the world, maybe magic, or they're being released by someone. And I don't think it fully, like, it does say so explicitly in one or two places, but it's not heavy-handed with it. It's more just like this underpinning to the whole story, which I find really cool. And instead of shoving it like in your face and being like, this is the story we're telling, it sort of is a lot more along the lines of, this is just a background fact of the world, and it's something you have to deal with daily, and it's something you have to be watchful for, but it's not like games, I think, will often, and a lot of media will often go, look at this, look at it, this is the thing we're doing, this is the thing we're telling, instead of it letting it be a bit more situated in the background. And I think, like, I've been thinking about this with Morrowind. Like, I've heard people say it has a lot of depth, and that is not the impression I'm getting. I think there's probably a lot of like depth in the magic system that we haven't seen from like what I've read in the past on wiki pages, but the combat is like, you have less interactions than you would have in Oblivion, and then even less than you would have in Skyrim, especially in the sword combat. Skyrim is actually it's got quite a bit of depth, if I remember rightly. There's certain types of attack, there's blocking, and there's ways of getting around sort of blocks and things like that. There's some interactivity there, and some ways of playing, whereas this game does not have that at all. But I think the thing it does do is it's just so much more measured in its story. Like, us being the Nervareum, we found that out about 24 hours into the game. Skyrim, you are the Dragonborn. Unless you just completely ignore your main quest, you are the Dragonborn, I'd say, within the first couple of hours. You find that out. And I think that's what people are talking about. It's when they say that sort of thing, it's not necessarily that the systems are more complicated. It's that there's more measure in the storytelling, maybe, and more understatedness. Something like that, anyway. That's the other thing. I think people underestimate complicatedness for depth. And I think one way of getting depth is having a lot of complicated things going on. But I think another, like, just a simple way of having depth is having a lot of simple things go on that all interact with each other. If you think about depth in, say, like Path of Exile, something I'm playing right now, I think has a lot of depth as a game. But I don't think any one of the systems is particularly complicated, but it's adding them all together that makes it seem immensely complicated. And I think also depth as well could just be some level of this game is hard to read. It doesn't tell you what it's doing straight away. It's much more in the realm of, I think this is a Daedra, yeah. Which one do we want to use? It's much more in the realm of I can't think what I was going to say now. Come on, brain. So recording this first thing in the morning again, so my brain's not fully functioning as usual. Something about depth. Oh yeah, just like readability. If a game refuses to tell you how to play it, is that depth or is that just like making it more complicated? And to be honest, to not do a value judgment on this, I think all of these things like sort of add into the subject we're talking about here and sort of build it up into something. It's not one simple facet that you can sort of rely on. There is quite a few different things going on. So I think it's only in like sort of thinking about all of those that you can try and figure out what depth is and where it comes from. I find it interesting because I think it's sometimes just a byword for a lot of other things. It's just like we're going to say depth when what we mean is like these other things, difficult to read or a lot of systems. So yeah, anyway, let's do a level up. Done. See, there, level up. As I said I would. But that's it. Depth from Smite, I'd say, comes from a lot of simple systems added together, and that seems the way in MOBAs. And I think interactivity between systems is probably key to depth as well. Having a lot of things that on their surface is simple, but then you sort of like, you start going into it more and more. So I think like Paradox games are perfect examples of that. You talk about, and I know this is probably all changed, let's say like the inheritance system in Crusader Kings. You can quite easily go through that and say, okay, you can choose these several inheritances. But then when you tie that into, I don't know that game well enough. I just got halfway into that analogy and realised I've only played like 15 hours. What's a better one? Hearts of Iron 4 was the one I played the most recently for a while anyway. So in that, say supply seems simple. It all comes from your capital and goes here. But then when you take that into actual territory you've taken and then into infrastructure as well as being part of that, and then you take into account the fact that your factories have to build items for your units to use, and you see what I'm saying? Like all of these different systems like make a conglomeration of like depth, or so-called depth. The whole layout of this area is very similar to what we've seen before. It's very much an Ashlander sort of area. We've had sort of two main biomes up to this stage. It's been mostly like either swamp or just like pure ashland, which is what we're in now. And I think it does, again, part of the creativity, not creativity, but part of the world it's constructing is really works, sort of similar to talking about the disease being part of that as well, and like the mechanics feeding into the aesthetics, feeding into the actual game itself. It all merges together to make what is so far a very enjoyable game. I just think the combat's bad, to be honest, and I think anyone who says any different has probably got nostalgia blinding them a little. At the end of the day, there's not much interactivity, but it's still enjoyable to sort of progress through, and with only playing a bit here and there, you don't get too overwhelmed or find it too boring in the long term. Give me some pearls. Plus, we've got plenty of story stuff to go, but I'm kind of mainlining the main quest now. One, because I know from the end of this mission, actually, we get immunity to disease, which is going to be huge for us. I've talked about how prevalent disease is, so having the ability to get rid of it. We've also made our way eastwards now, so we're getting to see a bit more of the map. I was wondering if there was going to be any significant change with the map, but actually, no. So, which island are we looking at? Let me have a nose. Apparently we're on the right island. Shouldn't be long for us to find Telfair then. Probably around here somewhere. I'm going to take a heal here. Do you know what? I just don't like nighttime. Yeah, my corpus is worsened. I wonder if selling all those things to Scamp was a creeper, was a bad idea. Probably. Telfair doesn't seem to be on this island though. We haven't fully explored it actually. What's this way? See, I say this stuff about this game, about it. Oh god, where did that come from? It genuinely made me jump a little bit. I tend to end up saying about this game, oh, we're in a boring section, we're in the Ashlands, we've been here loads of time, and then you come across something like this. It's just like, oh, okay. The game's got my back, actually. Just doing a thing. You know we have to. Tell fear. Right. Bet fear.
Or hit the road.
Have you come to plunder the dungeon, or to get your have you got corpus disease, or come to see Diviath Fear? I'm his wife. One of them, sort of. He's up in his study. I hope you can fly. You can't get there unless you can fly, or have potions. Sorry. You'd be surprised how many people have come here trying to steal Lord Fear's treasures. He doesn't have quite a collection of relics and artifacts, but he keeps them down in the corprusarium. And who wants to risk catching the corpus disease? Not to mention who wants to get ripped in half. Pity, we don't see many good thieves here, just the stupid ones. Wife? Yes, well, not wife in the married sense, but you know, paramour, consort, something like that. It's a bit awkward, really. Well, he made us two, so... Though we weren't really his daughters or anything. It's like we were his daughters, because he made us, you see. Okay, there's things going on here. Be cool to see how this place all fits together. Golden door. You can levitate, yeah. Upper thing. Plunder the dungeon. Corprusarium. Cabins below the tower. Okay. I played a tiny bit of Fallout 3 yesterday. And... Oh, I may as well... Yeah, I think we've already talked about potentially doing videos on it. Yeah, I started recording a video on it. And... here we go. It's got voice acting. It's brilliant. I don't have to read all the time. It's very nice. You can tell he's a mage because he has people's souls trapped on his window ledge. Or shelving. Apparently I need to levitate to get somewhere, but I'm not quite seeing it. I would not want to live in these halls. Is this the place where you have to levitate? I'm going to save before I levitate, because I've only probably got a couple of these potions. And plus we have just walked a long way. Magicka, invisibility... Could have sworn he gave me a potion. I've not sold it, have I? I sold a load of stuff before leaving town. We've got levitation somewhere, right? I mean, we know how to do it, but we're not going to be able to do it. Interesting. Shadow, fatigue, magicka, light, invisibility, magicka. Rising force, that's the one, isn't it? Oh, you look upwards. That's weird. What does it look like? Just that we're walking in the air. Oh, this makes it hard to walk around, doesn't it? Oh god, this is awful. I don't like this. I'm just not used to it, really. But here we go. Oh, he's got Daedric armor. Hello. Say, that's an interesting Dwemer piece you have there. What can you tell me about it? Politely show him and then put it away. Oh. I thought I was being clever there and like being like wink wink nod nod, I've got this piece here and like here you go, but I'm going to put it away until I get what I want. He's like, no, he took that badly. I'm happy just to give it to him because it weighs a lot. What was it called again? Rising Force Potion. Ugh. Who'd be so obscene to construct halls that normal people couldn't use?
Do you want something?
Offer the Dwemer artifact as a gift. A gift for me? How thoughtful and shrewd. I suppose you know I am a collector, and that such a gift is bound to please me. I congratulate you on your diplomatic skills. So why have you tried to butter me up? Come to consult the great Diviath Fear? You have a divine disease, want to plunder the dungeon, or leer at my daughters? Magical precision. Rewind, and the magical principles of corpus disease are elusive and miraculous, far more subtle and powerful than any conventional sorcery or enchantment. I'm persuaded that it is in some manner the curse or blessing of a god, perhaps both a curse and a blessing. The victims, of course, cannot appreciate the marvellous nature of corpus. It saps the minds and destroys the body, but to a wizard it is a profound and glorious mystery, a riddle worth a lifetime of study. How interesting. Did you know that corpus makes you immune to disease? Have you heard of the prophecies of the Nervarine? Ashlanders say that Nervarine will be immune to disease. I've always thought, maybe I have the Nervarine down in my corprusarium, and I don't even know it. Haha. The Nervarine is a fat, disgusting corpus monster, and as mad as a marsh rat. Wouldn't that be funny? Let's tell him it. That's a fascinating story you tell, so you might be with the Nervarine. Means nothing, of course. Corpus victims have all sorts of delusions, but let me think. I've got a potion. In theory, it should cure corpus. Doesn't work, though. Probably kill you. Killed all my test subjects. But you've got nothing to lose. Before I give it to you, I want you to look around below in the corprusarium. Know that that's what's in store if you don't take the potion. And while you're there, I want you to pick up a pair of boots from a victim. Calls himself Yagrim Bargran. My oldest patient. Handy fellow. Fix these things for me. Bring the boots back and then you can have the potion. I collect victims of the divine disease in my corprusarium in the caverns beneath my tower. Collecting the victims. I think that's the key word that makes him seem not the nicest. Ferocious appetites and passions. No reason at all. Mad as marsh rats. But marvellous too in their way. Completely immune to disease. Live forever, barring accidents. Ancient wizards need projects to keep them occupied, and the corprusarium is mine. You got the same face as me. We look the same. What are you on about? I didn't kill another Dark Brotherhood guy. Cool, so we have to go down into this corprusarium. Is there anything up here we want whilst we're still levitating? Not by the looks of it. And we're going to have to use another potion of levitating to get back up there, aren't we? Tower door, let's use that. Right, anyway. I think that's going to be more than enough for today as I struggle to work through these corridors because I'm slightly levitating. That is going to be our stop point. Thank you for watching. If you could like, comment, subscribe, all those things, it's really, really helpful. Helps me keep the videos coming out, and hopefully we've got some more interesting things coming up in the near future. Yeah, I'm going to keep pumping out Morrowind most days of the week. There's going to be a Fallout 3 video on Friday, and then my usual sort of deeper dives on Saturday. So thanks for watching. My name's been Billy. Goodbye.